Hi there, everyone. I'm Michelle Teague from A Teague of Your Own. Welcome to Coffee with Two Coaches. And as usual, here is my good buddy, Betty. Hi, Betty.
Hi. Hi. Glad to be here. We're going to be ending the year on a high and be able to help you look and review your year.
Yes, yes,
Because
we
it's always
are.
good to review your year because you don't want to repeat some of the things you did in your year, but also carry over the good things that you want to continue.
Exactly. And so we've got 10 questions that you can ask yourself to kind of gauge how this year went for you and prepare you for next year. Because that's the key at this point in time is we're looking forward to 2023 and how can we best start that year and really get things going for ourselves so that we start it on our best foot. So we get things going in the right direction right away as opposed to starting off and not knowing exactly what it is we want to do, things like that. So, Betty, one of the first questions that we need to ask ourselves is actually reflecting on the current year. So, if 2022 were a movie, what happened? Uh, that question gives you the perspective of, putting yourself in the movie as the main character, taking a look at what happened as an objective observer and describing your life, describing your business in terms of this movie. Where are the highlights? Where are the lowlights? Where were things moving fast? Where are those action scenes? Where are those comedy scenes? What was your life and business like in the past year if you had to describe it as a movie? This is a great way to reflect back on what you've done.
I'd like to add what other characters were in that movie that helped you move forward or that you won't call on them again. They'll be in another role, but they won't be part of your business actions and
Exactly.
success.
That's a great point. The second question to ask yourself is what worked well that you are grateful for? One of the things that both of us do when it comes to coaching is we help our coaching clients focus on gratitude. We help them focus on what it is that they have that they are grateful for. And this is an excellent question for that because you're taking a look to see what did you do, what did you accomplish that really worked well, and you're truly grateful for how things turned out.
That's true. And you are practicing gratitude because gratitude is hard to always do on a daily basis. And there are supports and resources that can help you look at what you should be grateful for, but where are you going next? So,
Mhm.
and it helps you look at why was it disappointing, you know, and what was the challenge, and is that type of challenge something that you're going to face next year? So it's
Exactly.
very specific.
And that's the next question is what was challenging or disappointing for you? Where was that low point in your year? What did you focus on that didn't go the way that you thought it would go? Um, and why did it turn out the way that it did? Um, there's a lot that you can learn from the challenges that you overcome. There's a lot you can learn from the disappointments that you encounter in your life and in your business.
That's very true. And the relationships that you built.
Hmm.
Again, I said who supported you, but more importantly, like, do you have somebody in your personal life who is really back there helping you move forward? I mean, my husband actually edits some of my articles and stuff because I'm a great trainer and I can ask tough questions when I'm coaching, but really, it's a little boring when I do some of the stuff. So he beefs it up, and that's nice. So you have somebody in your back corner too.
Oh yeah, Jim is there. He provides a lot of support. He does a lot of things behind the scenes. Um, But in addition to that, when you think about it, there are people out there who have mentors, they have coaches, they
Mhm.
have other people who are there to help them. And that's one of the things that you need to look at. If you find that life has been overly challenging or overly disappointing in this past year, who can you turn to help in the coming year? And that's one of the reasons why this is an important question to ask yourself.
And me, just one more thing on that. Who do you approach to help you inside your organization? I
Mhm.
mean, mentors are very interesting. You might know somebody who is a colleague or actually another a person that your boss knows, but is in another place, and you can ask them without them getting into the politics. Help just help have them help you through some of the things that you're struggling with. But some people forget, depending on what their boss is, they can ask their boss
Yes.
what was challenging in the business, and that you'd like to be part of the next year, working with the challenges for next year. And that will put you in a really good spot with your boss.
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime that you can make things better for your boss, they like that.
Yeah.
They appreciate that.
Yeah.
So that's always a good thing to do. Uh, the next question to ask yourself is what were your most meaningful moments? What was it that held the most meaning for you over the past year? When you take a look at that, you're going to have some really good emotions come out of it, and it's also going to help you focus on areas of your life that provide a really good high energy for you. And that's important when you're going into the new year, is to approach it with a positive mindset and a good sense of energy.
I always encourage people to maybe start a bullet journal. That
Mm,
way they can put in what was the high and the low, and what really succeeded, why it succeeded, and is it something that you want to continue with that particular win. And otherwise, if you don't do that, you might want to just sit quietly and take some breaths and just let your mind empty, and then let your story come through your head, and saying, I want to know what was meaningful and gave me energy this year. And you'd be surprised what comes through.
you're right. Um, and this goes really well with the next question, which is where did I spend my time and energy? We all have the exact same amount of time. Every single year, all of us have the exact same amount of time. And what you accomplish with that time tells a lot about how your year went for you. Some people choose to spend their time wisely, other people choose to spend their time poorly. And you can tell by the results that people get. And so when you're taking a look back at your year, how did you spend that time? And how did you spend that energy? Uh, the energy that you have, all of us have, high periods of energy and low periods of energy. You have that ebb and flow throughout the course of the day, let alone the year. But what did you spend your high energy time on? And what did you spend your low energy time on? Because it can be very easy for you to get distracted. It can be very easy for your time to get wasted, especially with all the different distractions that we have. When you look at social media, when you look at all the emails, and when you look at the texts and the technology that are out there, they can suck away a lot of your time. And so paying attention to how you're spending your time is really key to you achieving what it is that you want to do.
And there's a way to sort of look at it. A lot of us keep a calendar or a planner. It's not bad to have a pad next to you and say, hey, where did I really spend my time that had outcomes and accomplishments? and had value? Where did I spend my time where I had distractions, whether it was me or it was, I'm back in the office and people now want to talk to me all the time, especially if you're a manager or you're executive. The other thing is at home, when you're working at home, uh, when did you have to break and do something for the family and leave your work? I mean, my husband unfortunately breaks into my business and we're working on that so I can stay on task when I'm working. But for those of you in the office, you want to really look and see what went well and what didn't, and what were your wins for the year.
Yeah, and part of that is taking a look at all the meetings that you got to attend over the
Absolutely.
past year.
Mhm.
How many of them were truly productive and how many of them weren't? And was that a good use of your time? Because moving forward, you want to make the best use of your time possible. And when you analyze how you spend your time, that's one of the things you need to look at is, was it really a good use of my time?
And last thing is lunches. We either do it alone or we go out with people, but sometimes look at the lunches that you went out with people that like your supervisor
Mhm.
or a supervisor, and they brought their boss with you and invited a couple of you. That can be a productive time. You're networking, building alliances, you're learning what they're expecting of you and what's happening in the agency, the business, the company, and that could be considered productive time.
Yes,
And you need to
definitely.
write out what happened and what you
Yes,
got out of it.
exactly. The next question to ask yourself is, where did you fail? And more importantly, what did you learn from that failure? One of John Maxwell's books is Fail Forward, and that's exactly what he talks about. He tells you, uh, all of us are going to fail. We're not always. It's impossible to be successful at everything the very first time you do it. So when you do fail, when you don't get the level of success that you're looking for, you need to stop and analyze it and take a look and see what went wrong, what went right, what can I fix so that the next time I do this, I can make progress moving forward. And so that's one of the things you have to look at, and you need to ask yourself is, where did you fail and what did you learn from it?
And you have to be careful that you keep, once you've done that you keep what didn't work so well, what you consider. I hate the word fail, but it is out there with a fail, and just leave it back there.
Mhm.
Take the learning forward, because that's a positive energy for you to go and say, well, this is how I'm going to prevent this type of thing happening, because it can happen in other projects or in other times in your business. But you we all have to sit down and say what worked and what didn't work, and was it something that I failed at doing, or did I not do it because I didn't think about doing it?
Well, and to that point, when you need to document all of this, because the other thing is, if you just only sit down and think about it, that's one thing, and at least you're thinking about it. But you need to document what you did, because the reality is it may not have worked in this particular environment or this situation, but it could work in a different one. And if you've got documented what it was that you tried to do and it didn't work for that particular circumstance, it may work in a future different circumstance for you. If you've got it documented, it'll be a whole lot easier for you to remember what it is that you did.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
true.
All right. One of my favorite questions to ask, and you and I were talking about this just a little while ago, is to look back and rate your happiness on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being incredibly low, 10 being incredibly high. And this is something you can do literally on a daily basis, weekly, monthly, and obviously on a yearly basis. But how important do you think it is, Betty, for people to look back and rate their happiness?
I'm not sure people do that so much, because right now the environment is negative, right? And we're concerned. So, but really you should sit down and think about, hey, these things gave me energy.
Mhm.
I built this relationship and it's working. Um, my team and I were able to finish this project not on time, but before time. And that should make you happy because we're achieving goals that you need to do and you're overachieving them. And happiness is sometimes just sitting there and looking around in the world and saying, wow, it's really nice out there.
Yeah.
And I'm part of that world, so I should be happy. And I know that sounds a little woo-woo, but there are times when if I'm down, I'll just look out my front yard, which is a very long yard, and I'll just say, it's really nice out there. It's a lot of nature and cows. So, so I'm happy that I'm here in Tennessee. So my happiness stays with me now.
Mhm. Well, and to that point, you can look around and you can look at the people who are making you happy,
That's right.
because those relationships that you have focused on and that you have built, they should be, if you're spending all that time and effort and energy in them, there should be a greater sense of happiness with those types of relationships. And if you're not getting that happiness with all the time and energy and effort that you're putting into it, then you need to ask yourself why. What is it that's causing you not to be happy? And all of us deserve to be happy. We should all have a happy life. It's a matter of taking the time to ask ourselves, how happy am I? What can I do to increase that happiness? And sometimes it's a matter of stepping back and stepping away from what you're doing. Uh, Going on a vacation, it doesn't necessarily have to include any travel, but you could do a staycation and just get away from some of the responsibilities you have there at work and focus on being happy with where you are. And sometimes that's what we need to do.
Well, and other times, it's all about laughing and smiling and just going, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. And sometimes when we're watching a movie, I'll go, really? But I'm glad that I'm watching the movie because I'm not doing anything that's really nerve-wracking.
Mhm.
And I can look at it, and smiling actually is a really good energy, and it is part of happiness, and laughing too. And sometimes we forget to laugh.
And some of the people who need to be in our lives are people who make us laugh.
That's right.
We need to have people in our lives that uh, can bring that laughter, bring that happiness into our lives, especially when things are going not so well for us. If we can reach out to them, just talk with them, have that laughter and happiness re-enter our lives, it can change our energy, and that's important.
Yeah. Yeah. It can affect your body.
Yes, yes, it can. They say laughter is the best medicine, and part of it has to do with your mindset. The other part has to do with the endorphins that are released as you're laughing, and smiling leads to that. So, smile and be happy and laugh. That can help you lead a healthier life.
And
I mean,
especially since we've been locked down and isolated, we really need to meet and greet people or reconnect with people that used to make us happy, because over
exactly.
the phone was nice, maybe a Zoom, but in person, like you said, endorphins sort of come off of people, and it is catching.
Yes, yes, it is. The next question to ask yourself is looking forward. And you want to ask yourself, as you look to the next year, what will be the highest use of your talents? What's the best use of the skills that you have? Um, A, because when you're using your talents and your skills to their highest use, it's going to make you happier. But B, you're also going to be able to accomplish a whole lot more when you focus on what you do best. And I know there's a lot of people out there who have taken strengths finders to find out what their best strengths are. If you haven't done that yet, this is a great time of year to do it, because that way, moving forward, you can say, oh, this would be a good area for me to focus on because I have a strength there and I can use this to the best of my ability.
And it's also your time to say, well, that's not my strength, but it is something I have to have in my business, my work. But who has that strength? And
Yes.
can I partner with them and see how well we'll work together to get things done in an extraordinary manner? And it might make you happy because you're both working together. So, and I'm not one to work alone all the time. It gets lonely.
Yeah. One of the things that Jim likes to talk about, a couple years ago, he had shoulder surgery. And he did this in the spring. So, of course, he did it right at the beginning of lawn cutting season. And he couldn't mow the lawn. And I do an awful job of mowing the lawn. So he hired somebody to come in that spring through that summer to cut grass for him. And so this past summer, they reached out to us and said, do you need us back? And he's like, yes, I want you back. Even though he could do it himself at that point, he knew that wasn't his strength. When the guys came in here and cut the grass, it looked better than it had in years. And so he knew they need to focus on doing that because that's what they do best. That frees me up to do something else that I can do best. And that's how you have to look at it. Sometimes you need to bring somebody in who can do the things that you are not that good at doing. And that gives them an opportunity to focus on their strengths.
Well, that's why some companies have contract work where
Mm-hmm.
people come in just for certain projects because they have the talent and the skills and the knowledge and abilities. For small businesses like yours and mine, I hired for the first time a virtual assistant who is very much becoming my business manager
Yep.
and launch manager. And she has an amazing background in business. And we just spent an hour looking forward in 2023, the first quarter, and it raised my spirits a lot. And if you need somebody to help you and you're in your own business, look at getting that help.
Yes. Yes, because can only make you stronger. It really, really can. So the next question is, what is an area where you will exercise courage to stretch, grow, and learn next year? What is one of those areas? And Betty, as coaches and trainers, this is something we encourage people to do on a regular basis.
Yep. Yeah, and especially after each session, I'll ask people, what did you learn?
Mm-hmm.
What 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 did you find that will help you move forward differently? Uh, and I'll observe saying, I saw you stretch
Mm-hmm.
when you did this. So it's, people need to communicate to each other as to what's happening when you're growing.
Well, and the reality is, if you're not growing, you're shrinking. You're moving backwards.
That's
I
right.
mean,
Moving backwards, yes.
yeah, you literally need to continue to learn and grow throughout the course of your life. And businesses need to continue to learn and grow. There are better ways of doing things out there. And as a business and as a leader in that business, it's your responsibility to seek out new and better ways and to continue to grow as a leader and to grow your business along with growing those leadership skills.
And as a leader in a company, when you do that, then you can bring along the people that are the next level and they grow from you, because you have expectations of them, but they learn from you too. So it really benefits everybody to really be responsible for understanding where they're supposed to grow and
Mhm.
what what did they do last year that stretched them that they're going to carry over in 2 weeks.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't believe it's 2 weeks, but it's
I
2 weeks.
know, really. Uh, so the last question that we have to ask ourselves for the coming year is, what does success look like for me next year? What when you close your eyes and you picture yourself being a success in 2023, what does that look like? Just like at the beginning, we closed our eyes and we pictured our life and what happened over the past year as a movie, and we could see all the different characters, and we could see all the actions, and we could see the high points and the low points. When you close your eyes and you think it's the end of 2023 and here's what I did because I was so successful, what does that look like? And uh, how can I make sure that that truly happens? Um, we are visual creatures. We do best when we can actually see ourselves being successful at something. And so I always encourage uh, my clients to write down what it is that they want to accomplish and what success looks like for them, but b to also have that mental picture of what success looks like for them.
But sometimes we feel like, oh, success, it's the big thing that we've done, right? But it's not necessarily, I mean, every day you might have a success. It
Mm-hmm.
might be that you and your husband or your family were able to see a movie or go out and, walk around. That's a success because you came together and are building the relationship. It may mean that you ended up finishing a part of the project that was a major piece of a larger project, and that was a success. Don't wait for saying, hey, when it's finished I succeeded. You really have little incremental successes on a daily or weekly basis, and we don't take time out to really think about success,
Mm-hmm.
really. And we need to do that now more than ever.
I think we need to redefine what success means.
Mm.
Because you're right, there are a lot of people that'll say, well, here's the goals that I have for myself. Success means achieving those goals. That's not necessarily the case. Success means that you keep making progress towards those goals. And it's a whole lot easier to be able to measure the progress that you're making, and you can see each day and each week and each month how much success you are having when you measure that progress. So that way you don't have to wait until the end of the year to look back and say, did I achieve those goals? You'll know right away how successful you've been because you're keeping track of the progress that you're making, and you can see that that is creating success for yourself and for your business.
And if the goals are really complex, I always tell my clients could chunk it down into smaller pieces. But if it's really a large project, like we did re-engineering the federal government, you had to look at benchmarks or
Mm-hmm.
milestones and see what success you accomplished. Because what happens is in the federal government, when you're on a project, it may end when new administration comes in, or they'll give it to somebody else, which is a real downer, I'll tell you. But they will give it to somebody else, and rather than resent it, if you've done all along, if you looked at how you succeeded all along, then you know that you can use that as a measurement of success in another project, in another part of your life.
Exactly. And the other thing is, when you have some of these longer, bigger projects, the goal may not necessarily end at the end of next year. It could be a multi-year project.
Yeah.
And so if you're waiting until it's over to say that you're successful, you've got many years to wait. You need to be able to have that sense of success sooner rather than later, because that helps to propel you forward. It helps you to stay motivated to reach the end.
And it helps with your energy and even really your happiness, because a lot of times our happiness, a lot of us tie our happiness to our work.
Yes.
And we like to see work balance come along more often. But if it is that, then you need to do what we're talking about. We highly recommend doing what we talked about.
Exactly. Well, there you have it. Those are the 10 questions to ask yourself heading into next year, so that you can set yourself up for success. You can take a look at how well things have gone this year. You can set up what success looks like for you next year. And I strongly encourage everyone to truly do a good review of what they have accomplished this past year, and then use those successes to help move them forward going into 2023.
Well, I want to give a call to action. For those of you who are looking at this video, we encourage you to go to our Facebook group,
Yep.
Coffee with Two Coaches. And there are comment sections, and we put these on YouTube, and we put them on the Facebook page. So please, I would say, answer this question: what was I proud of last year? And what do I want? How do I want to start next year? And what do I want? What are my expected outcomes that I'm looking for next year? So there's 3 questions: the now, the immediate future, and the far end future, so that you're ready next year in 2023 in December. You can have a lot of successes and a lot of learnings. But I'd like to hear just a couple sentences about those 3 questions.
Excellent. Great point. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We know you're finding this useful, because you keep tuning in. Feel free to reach out to us either on Facebook or on LinkedIn. We've got an email, coffeewithtwocoaches@gmail.com. Feel free to send us any questions or any suggestions that you have for future topics. We are here to help you.
Well, that's another place to send your feelings about this year and next year. But I want to say something. I feel like I had a win when I met Michelle, and we decided to do these podcasts, because I had never done one. And I really, if I look at myself in the past, I had a lot of learning to do. But Michelle makes it very easy, and it's a very positive experience, meaning it makes me happy. So, we're partnering. I encourage you to partner too with somebody that compliments you and helps you.
Well, thank you for the kind words, Betty. I have a great time partnering up with you, because you bring a wealth of wisdom and experience and knowledge, and you are just so helpful for the people that you work with. And so we have a great synergy. We have a great combination of skills here, and it comes through on these. So I'm glad that we partnered together to do Coffee with Two Coaches.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So we wish you all a happy new year.
Yep.
And a very, you're able to jumpstart 2023 because you've made a couple of plans or set a couple of goals or resolutions. And so happy new year. Be safe, be healthy.
Yep. Happy New Year, everyone. Have a happy, healthy, and prosperous new year. See you soon.